The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100 have been on a little bit of a tear. We've seen some back and forth over the past 2 to 3 days. CPI came out on Tuesday and it wasn't really great. PPI comes out tomorrow and it provides us more direction on the overall market movement and what's happening with inflation as far as rate cuts. But when we look deeper at the market, there's a few things I wanted to discuss, because right now you basically have America 2 days ago saying that nuclear war isn't even on the horizon, and then Putin comes out later today and says, guess what? We're ready to use nuclear weapons if we ever have to, and we have them ready right now, but there's never been such a need. Yeah. I love that guy. Also worth mentioning, as they go into detail about this, it's worth mentioning officials now released that they were preparing rigorously for the potential use case of those nukes in 2022 on Ukraine. So again, this comes back to that viewpoint of trust nothing that's given to us by the media, but also to prepare for a kind of worst case scenario. Also going into this, the biggest talks here have been what's happening right now with inflation and what's really coming from CPI and PPI, because we got unemployment numbers and those started to rise. And that does put us in the best case scenario to start to get some of those rate cuts. But as we look at what's happening here now, inflation more with that sideways movement based on CPI and PPI, kind of showing stagnation. Now, the Fed made a few comments regarding this over the past few months, and they said they're not really looking for a 2% target in order to cut rates, and that they've never said that. Their actual words now are, we want to see that that's the rate or the path that we're on, and then cutting as we see fit. So it's highly likely that we do see cuts coming into June, midsummer. That seems like the most likely time slot. And as well as what's coming in with some of this data, what's coming in with unemployment, it's looking more and more like it. But does that mean that they're going to continue to cut rates after that point? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to have hike rates nonstop and then cut rates nonstop. I think it's going to be cut and then see how things progress over the next few meetings, and then cut again later down the line. The speculation right now is there's only going to be 2 to 3 cuts, all at basically 0.25 on the rate cut. So again, not too exciting, nothing too incredible there, but something that we have to keep our eyes on. So when we go and when we look at what's happening in particular with the market, let me zoom myself down just a little bit for you. Let's just take a quick look here at like the 4-hour time frame, go over the past few days so you can see. Now, again, I want to highlight some of these levels, and I'm still using the previous futures chain just because the volume is still really good there. I will be rolling these contracts over very soon. I just haven't taken the time to get my levels all marked out for you guys. So again, next video I should have them all marked out for you. I know I've been putting that off. So the biggest levels here are number one, 1816. I want to put like just a dot next to this one, or a star, right? This is probably your most significant level. Above this level, I do believe you can run into all-time highs. And yeah, let me not circle that. People might think it's a pentagram or something crazy, but anyways, so yeah, that's where we're sitting at, kind of in between these two levels. The next most important level has been the 1807 right here. When we push below this, we've seen sellers step in significantly, but on the day we saw buyers continue to hold us at that point. But today's action was really interesting because despite some of the selling that we saw in Nasdaq, we go into ES and we look at what's happening there, and it's a little bit of a different tone. ES is basically sitting 20 points away from its all-time highs, maintaining this overall structure that you have. I wouldn't consider it a flag here. It's more of just a base above resistance, and you're just sitting there preparing to push up. It's going to take nothing at all to get you back into those highs. And the biggest thing that, like, if I look at this and I wonder if, like, this is all-time high, what could push us there? It's really been Dow. Dow has been the thing that's holding us back overall. And again, this is some of the weirdest action we've had in the market, because you look at Dow and you look at it today, and Dow's been a beast. Dow's had one of its best days that it's had maybe in a while. If we zoom out and we look at overall, what's up versus what's down, the Dow had the best performance on the day, green on the day. Worth mentioning over the past 24 hours. So again, very strong. You saw sellers try to push in near the end of the day, and then you buy right back. So this, again, a very good structure of what we're seeing. So what am I looking at going into the next 2 days, give or take? Number one, I want to see us mount above Friday's March 1st highs. That's what I want to see on the Dow. 39,175. Getting above that, I think you push back into all-time highs. ES, I don't think there's too much you have to look at here. And I know some are going to be like, well, Tyler, what do you mean? Are we just ignoring ES? No, but I think ES already looks good. So as long as you're above 5170, I think you're on the path to push to all-time highs. Going into Dow, or Nasdaq, a little bit more simple. You're looking for a mount back above 18,616. I think you've seen the back and forth, the pull, what's happening here based on PPI and what's coming out of there. Now, we do have the Fed meeting coming up as well. That's going to be next week, so I'll have a little bit more time before I have to go over any of that. So, and we do have a little bit of a blackout period again from Fed members speaking. So again, puts more emphasis on the data that's coming out. So that's the biggest thing there. But going into what's happening, a little bit into what's going to happen with the Fed members and what's being said there. Powell has made it very clear. What do they need to see? Either inflation continuing down, seeing progress continue to be made, or unemployment rising. And that's what's happening right now. Unemployment almost at that 4% marker of what they've been looking for, 4.3 roughly. So we're getting closer to that level. And they do think that it's going to continue to ramp up. This is the second month that we've seen unemployment step up again. So again, pretty interesting of what we're seeing there in the overall activity that keeps us in that loop. Now, what I will say, let's go into a few data pools here as well. We go into, really quickly into Edgepool. As you can see, Tuesdays and Wednesdays have historically past year been our red days, right? And again, SPY today ends up closing out, as you can see here, scrolling back up, closing out red slightly. Okay, worth mentioning. You go back here. So again, Tuesdays, red days, probably our worst days of the week. You go into volume. We look what's happening here. Volume. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, slow days. Thursdays, Fridays are big days when we get all the momentum. Makes sense. So again, as we look at that volume, what's really taking place here, we go to something like SPY, as you can see, giving you just a glimpse of what's really taking place there. We look at historical volume. And again, today's volume, really nothing. Here in the after hours, maybe you get up to 52 million, but nothing really. Yesterday you had a little bit because, you had semiconductors going a little crazy, but overall, that's where you're at. Pretty stagnant, low volume. Okay. Worth mentioning, I do expect that to tick up into the, the end of the week. Now, again, going into something like DXY, what the risk on, risk off indicators here. The DXY for me, as we look at the daily, 4 hour maybe gives you a better viewpoint here. Clear bear flag in my opinion. Don't know how else to structurally draw this out. Very clear flagging to the downside. Dollar continues to show weakness despite some of these data pools coming out of here. Now, the one area of concern has been the 30-year yield, but you're bouncing right on the level that we mentioned, 4.2. Again, you go out to the weekly chart here. There's nothing else to say, but it's been a clear flag to the downside. So I definitely think there's a lot of pull and there's going to be a lot of importance on what's coming out specifically with this next Fed meeting next week. Data continues to be very important, but it continues to seem like they're leaning more towards that cut in June, especially if unemployment data stays where it's at. Just saying, if we continue to push towards a pause or pushing this off, there's the chance of weakness that will incur on the market. I will say that, but all things considered, when I look at higher time frames like the weekly or anything along those lines, I don't even got to really look at, it doesn't really matter, but like Nasdaq's, as bullish as it can be and a clear channel to the upside since November. ES, same exact thing. Now, do all things come to an end? Yes, this eventually will hit a brick wall. But as we look at most of these indicators, the IWM, everything along those lines, everything still looks good for now. On top of that as well, you have Bitcoin, another decent risk on versus risk off indicator, continuing into all-time highs. Now, I will say you do have halving coming up, here in the next few weeks in April, but still looks pretty strong. I'm not going to be the guy that's betting on the top. Okay, I'd rather trade that confirmation like we've done over the past 2 to 3 years on the channel, which I think has led to some pretty decent success. Those are the biggest things for me right now. Also, too, if you're interested in this data here, the link for that is down below. It's from Edgepool. So shout out to those guys. Appreciate all the things that they do for us. Also, too, we're going to go into some of the equities that we're liking. But I want to go over a few things before we do that. Now, I appreciate you guys liking and subscribing, but I want to just give you a heads up. We are not making videos Monday through Friday here anymore. I'm probably going to do 4 videos a week instead of 5, but just more spread out to give you guys more of a chance to really take advantage of what you're getting here. And that's the real point here, is to get more reach for you guys and to really help you guys understand what we're looking at in the market. So that's going to be the big things. Hopefully we have more weekend videos coming as well. But also really mark out the levels that we're mentioning, because again, I firmly believe you can apply this to your trading every single day. Everything that we're covering here, especially when we start going over equities and futures specifically. Stop relying on someone to do the trading for you, do all the work for you, answer all your questions, right? We have Discord. It's closed. I'm sorry. But even then, you shouldn't be relying on us to do the trading for you. At the end of the day, if you have a failure or you start to trade bad, it comes back down to you. So that's what we want to build here, is to really help you guys take that next step. And so that's what we're trying to do, more stuff on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, things like that. But we have to be able to balance it for ourselves. And that's what we're doing here. So I appreciate all you guys that have been so loyal to the channel. Again, we're not stopping content by any means, just kind of changing the overall schedule. Let's get into equities. Okay, first thing we're going to cover is going to be going into Apple. We're going into some lower time frames. Again, below 176, your next target has to be near 166 down here. We even have a little bit of a demand level showing up here from our Lux Algo indicator. And also, if you're interested in any of our day trading indicators, the link is down below from Lux Algo. It goes over our volume and everything in between as well, so you understand what's happening there. A lot of weakness. It looks like you're just making a lower high, trying to push back down. Again, not looking to go long on Apple till we see signs of strength, and really want to get back above 182 at the very least. Tesla, again, showing lots of signs of weakness, getting below 175. We said below 175. Your target's near 166. Pretty gross. So again, breaking retest and getting continuation to the downside, and we're working our way there right now. I'll have more of these charts posted on Twitter too to keep you guys updated. But yeah, not really looking to trade Tesla. A lot of weakness. I need to see some good news out of there for those guys. But again, to some of the stronger names, one of the names that I'm really excited about right now is going to be Meta, and I'm going to actually show you my favorites. The next three are probably my favorite stocks. So number one, Meta. If you don't know basically what's happening with TikTok, a quick 5-second Google search will show you that right now the House just voted on the bill to ban. They just passed the bill to ban TikTok. Okay, unless they sold it to an American company or something along those lines. Important to understand that. Now, from there, Meta has been moving very good. It's been very strong. Above 494, I still think it's very strong. It's a little bit risky, but that's what I'd be looking at there. So above 494, I'm looking for 502, 503. But ultimately, if the market can get going and Nasdaq pushes back into highs, I think Meta pushes into all-time highs. Few things. Earnings have been fantastic. 2, TikTok ban is good for Meta. It's good for Reels. It's good for YouTube Shorts. But really, I think Meta gets the biggest win out of all of those. So what I'd be focused on there, if the strength continues, be watching. Under 494, you can't do much with it. My next favorite one is going to be NVIDIA. Obviously, this has been one of the gimmies. Key levels have been huge here. Above 877, you love it. You've gotten a retest of it yesterday. I wish you would have tested it. I would have went long again. You got back above 897. You're cooking back to the upside. Shout out to Jay Ramey's been killing it with that as well. But again, you're looking at making like an ascending triangle, trying to break back to the upside. NVIDIA looks strong. Again, if we get momentum from equities and stocks, I think NVIDIA just keeps on running. Next one is going to be, my next favorite, I'm trying to I don't want to mess this up. Microsoft. Oh my God. Microsoft, I've gone over this quite a bit. I think it's getting close to the time of a potential breakout. Now, Microsoft, you can see we formed a big level down there, 364. I don't know if you guys remember that level. But again, Microsoft does this very similar pattern to where you consolidate, you break, you consolidate, you break, you consolidate on high time frames. Kind of like AMD did way back when. And it's very similar here to me than it was way back then. So I'm definitely looking at this from that perspective of looking at continuation to the upside here and looking for that breakout. I'm a big fan. I like what they're doing. You really have to break all-time highs to get confirmation. Holding 415 is also very bullish as well. But again, dated contracts here are going to be your best friend, so you can really ride out that momentum. This thing could push into 440, possibly 450, in my opinion, once it starts going. Things to consider: NVIDIA, SMCI, these other names have all ran crazy. Microsoft's been really stagnant, and they're probably one of the biggest AI companies that's dominating as we speak in comparison to something like Google, which is just moving kind of down. So again, big fan of Microsoft, what they're doing, like it a lot, real potential. Next up, Coinbase. I like it a lot. I think it's moving good. People keep saying, Tyler, why is Coinbase going down? Bitcoin's going up. Well, Coinbase did the same thing when it hit 208 down here. You got stuck below a key level, and then it eventually shot up and went crazy to 270. Posted that on Twitter as well. Again, Twitter link is down below so you can see all the charts, things like that. But again, as long as you're holding above 240, I'm bullish on Coinbase. I'm looking for upside continuation. Now, you got to get above 270. Above 270, you're pushing to 300, 295. But honestly, the level isn't even that big. I could see it's pushing into 350. What's worth mentioning is when Coinbase's earnings come up next time, I think they're going to destroy. They're going to smash. It's going to be crazy. Again, Bitcoin's going absurd. It's sitting out at 73K, and I think it's just starting. And for any of you that are worried about Bitcoin, this and that, I'm a big guy when it comes to just the analytics and data. And I think this chart is just so helpful. This represents every Bitcoin halving that we've had. Each line is your halving. Bitcoin is proceeded to run over 100% every single time. Am I saying that has to happen this time? No. But I'm just saying I like statistics. So again, big fan of Coinbase where it's at. I think it has potential over 270 to go berserk. Keep it at the top of your watch list. Definitely very, very interesting. Again, still like Target a lot. One of my top names as well. Above 168, I like it a lot. Above 174, I think you're pushing it to 200 with ease. So definitely what I'm watching for there. There's a few other names that I might miss out on this list, like Amazon. I like it over 177. But ultimately, here on the weekly, you're kind of just consolidating, making a bull flag. Your next level is into 185. You might need a catalyst to get there. But the biggest things I'm watching, I love Target over Amazon. I'm just talking about the plays that I like a lot. So again, it's not that I dislike these other names like Google and this and that. It's just that I think there's better opportunities out there. My last I'm going to go over is going to be Netflix. I think it's an absolute dog. I think it's been moving very good. Above 615, you're looking into 624 and then pushing into 642. So a lot of upside room there. Supports are 605, then 593. There's not too much else to cover. Google, again, you've been kind of in a downtrend on the weekly time frame, so you're trying to break back out of this. Over 141, maybe you push back into 145, then maybe 149. But they've just been really lackluster when it comes to AI, so I just don't like them that much. So I'm sorry, that's just where I stand with them. I mean, what I've been watching, what I've been playing. Robinhood still sitting at $17, trying to get another breakout to the upside. Again, I told you guys about these around 14. I still think it's a fantastic play. As you can see here, clearly making higher lows. Again, making another like little ascending triangle. It's the same exact thing over and over. Extremely bullish. Absolutely love it. Big fan. A few of the mid caps I've been liking too. Kava, I mentioned them around 58, 56. Continues on the uptrend. Instacart, again, very similar, pushing up. These are mid caps, low caps I'm liking. But yeah, last one, sorry, ARM. You had a nice pennant. You broke out to the downside, kind of. You had your lockup end yesterday. There hasn't been a lot of selling. Back above 136, I'm very bullish. Be watching that one as well for continuation. I'll probably start buying some of this for the longer term as well very soon. Keep it on top of your watch list. That's what I'm trading. That's what I'm looking at. If you have questions, comment down below. Again, the most important things coming out, PPI tomorrow. And then we also have the Fed meeting next week and what we're looking for. We want to see continued momentum, continued strength across the market, and hopefully getting more and more volume into this and get more continuation on Nasdaq, getting us back above 1816. Hopefully back into those all-time highs. The next video I'll probably have is going to be on Friday. It'll be going over all the key levels, the changes we have on NQ, giving you a refresher. Stay safe. If you have questions, comment down below. See you tomorrow. Like, subscribe, do what you got to do. Have a good one.